Sometimes FPL makes it feel like you're dancing, trying to make changes based on what's happened last week and questioning your decisions. But, sometimes you just got to accept that you're not going to make right ones all the time. Last week I sold Salah for Kevin De Bruyne, and realistically, it probably was a good decision, just the result didn't turn out that way. So if you want to see what terrible decision I make this week, stick around and I'll tell you. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about last week. As you can tell, there's not a lot of points gotten from there. You can see Joe Cancelo got the -2 with the red card. I think that game could have been so different for Man City if they had have, not gone down to 10 men. They still did win 2-1, but in reality, not great. As well as that, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth when you see that Pope and Charbo get 2 points and 3 points respectively, when players like Trippier get 12 because they got subbed off before a late goal to concede. So it's a bit annoying. Then Guehi as well, you know, he gets 2 points, 1 point to 0. In midfield, then you've got the ever reliable Miguel Almiron with 8 points. They just look so good, especially offensively. I do think they'll keep more clean sheets. It's rare that you see them concede more than 1 goal as well. Anthony Gordon obviously didn't start. Then Kevin De Bruyne as well, captaincy, one of the better picks that I had this week. Good transfer in, I thought, for Salah, but then Salah goes and scores 2 against Spurs and defies the laws of life by just that law where if anything does go wrong, it will go wrong. That was it. Salah scored twice. It seems a bit like that this season. Once you transfer out a player who's out of form, somehow they pick up form. It's a bit unfair, but at least we don't have to worry about it this much longer after this game week. Martinelli then against Chelsea. I don't know. I just don't think Chelsea are that good defensively. I do think that they're going to concede more goals, and unfortunately Martinelli didn't do too well in that game. Next up then, I'm going to be talking to you about my attackers. The attackers were my bread and butter this week. They were just so good, as in they got goals each, and they just looked like my saving grace. The only bad thing about them is that I didn't captain one of them. Up front then, I did have Darwin Núñez, Harry Kane, and none other than Erling Haaland, who we found out quite late was a doubt to play. And that, I think, worried quite a lot of people. There was a lot of people trying to make transfers, and they weren't allowed to because deadline had passed, even though it was 15 minutes early. Bit of a headache. Some people managed to get the transfers through, some didn't. I think the game this season, there's always, well, not this season, it seems like every last few seasons, there's been something where something's just gone wrong, and that was it this season. If there's anything that we can take from this, it's to not make your transfers last minute, because the servers can't handle it. I made a song as well about it. You might have listened to it. I think I'm going to be a rapper in future. If you agree, leave a comment down and buy my new EP. It's called FPL. It's a pun. FPL. Yeah, and then in defense, it's always sickening to see Danny Ward do well, purely because I grew to hate him so much. But now he's just almost an ever presence on my bench and outperforming Pope as well. Then Nico Williams as well played. He got 1 point. That's sort of what you expect from a Nottingham Forest defender. Andreas just keeps on scoring. So for he's become an option rather than a bench player. And yet he still manages to be the second choice sub every week for me. So maybe I should listen to my own advice. Emerson as well. We don't talk about Emerson. I'm just gonna scooch this way. Yeah, he's nothing. He's not there. I may as well have a 3.8 million defender because he's never getting into my team because he doesn't start. Emerson as an idea was better than the reality. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It does hurt as well when you have 2 players on your bench with 6 points each, and you have pretty much that from Gordon, Cancelo, Guehi, Schär, and Pope. But FPL is a bit rude like that sometimes. Next up, I'm going to be talking to you about the odds for this week. And as you can see, they're all here. Nothing too mental. I think most people would have expected Man City to be the most likely team to keep a clean sheet. Liverpool as well, they're quite high up. Arsenal, Spurs. I'm not going to bore you with these things. It's pretty obvious that these teams will be quite high up. If I was picking anybody there, it would be a Man City defender or a Liverpool defender. You can get players like not Joel Matip, he's injured. Not Matip. I just said Joel twice. What am I doing? But yeah, There are players in the defense like Konate who are good picks at only like 5 million. And then at Arsenal, you've got players like not at Arsenal, you have players like Zinchenko. You've also got Gabriel, Ben White, who are all quite cheap and good to get into your side. At Man City, there's not too many options, and I think there's a bit of rotation at risk with the defenders. Spurs as well. I don't really want Eric Dyer for 5.3. And Perisic, I don't know if he'll start. He probably will, but do I want him when he's probably going to get subbed off before 60? Probably not. Looking at forwards, then it's no surprise to you that Erling Haaland is the most likely scorer this week. This is all dependent on if he plays or not. Mohamed Salah may have had one good week against Spurs, but I still don't trust him, and I'm not bringing him back in after I've already lost him for Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, Harry Kane obviously is one of the better picks as well this game week, and then Keon Edwards, who I have only heard of before this video because I googled him to ask why was he in this. He's not going to start, so just ignore him. Then obviously Fernando Gabriel Jesus. It's nice to know that he's got a first name. And Darwin Núñez. Looking at these players, they're all highly owned, good players. And looking at them, I would say Haaland, Salah, Kane, Jesus, Núñez, Kevin De Bruyne, Martinelli, Saka. These are all decent captaincy options this game week. So any of them will be good for you. If I was to bring in one of them, I'd bring in Darwin Núñez. I like his chance of scoring better than his probability. And then if I was to look at a defender to bring in, I'd probably bring in one of Liverpool or an Arsenal defender just because of cheapness. I think Konate is a decent price. And then as well as that, I think players like Zinchenko or Gabriel could score highly this game week. So this week, we're making a decision at the back. We're starting Ward. He's playing against West Ham. I think it's a better fixture than Chelsea at home, even though I don't really rate Chelsea too highly. But Leicester look like the better side. In terms of defence then, Guehi keeps his position because they're playing against Forest. Even though Forest won 2-0 in the Cup, still don't trust them defensively. I think there's still Palace are more likely to keep a clean sheet than they are in that game. So it's just something that I'm going to consider. Fortunately for Cancelo as well, his ban was used while playing in the Carabao Cup. So it doesn't really impact him. My final defender is a bit of a mystery, so you're going to have to wait till later on in the video to see who it is. Next up, I'm going to be talking to you about my midfielders. Might not be too much of a surprise here, but you might see that Andreas, once again, is not starting, which means he's going to score against Man United. Looking at the rest of the team then, Kevin De Bruyne obviously is one of the standout captaincy options this week. He's playing against Brentford. Brentford away from home look terrible. They concede a lot of goals, and I really think this is a fixture that you could be targeting somebody like Kevin De Bruyne or Cancelo as a captain. Then looking at the other midfielders, Anthony Gordon keeps his place even though he was dropped. I doubt we'll hear news from Everton before the game week starts, and he could go onto the bench for Nico Williams or Andreas. I think they're decent options to have on the bench. Then Almiron as well, he keeps on scoring. He's so good. He's scored the same amount of goals this season, or actually even more, than Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, and Jack Grealish combined, which is good going. Other than that then as well, it's Martinelli. Wolves just do not look like a good side. They brought in Julian Lopetegui, or however you say it, into their team as a manager, and he should solidify it with new manager bounce and all that. I just think this one's a game that they're going to forget about and then worry about it after the World Cup. After this, I'm going to talk to you about my forwards. Looking at this forward line, it's going to make you drool. Darwin Núñez, Erling Haaland, and Harry Kane. How can I afford it? Well, this is probably why I'm getting red arrows, to be fair. But they're just so good. If Haaland is acknowledged that he's fully fit and available for the game against Brentford, he's 100% going to be my captain. Even in 30 minutes, he looks like a good punt. Then Harry Kane against Leeds, it's another game where you could see him score. And then Darwin Núñez against Southampton. All of these strikers could be captains. And as well as that, so could Kevin De Bruyne, Martinelli, Cancelo. It's a bit of a headache having 6 captaincy options, when in reality, if Haaland is fit, he's going to be my captain. If he isn't fully fit, then it's going to be Kevin De Bruyne. So I'm not going to overthink it too much. It's just picking the best team against one of the worst. I think Darwin as well against Southampton is a good pick, just purely because of the fact that they're at home. Same for Kane. I wouldn't pick Martinelli just because I don't think he's been performing that well. Almiron against Chelsea could be a punt, but I don't need to take a punt when I'm doing quite well so far. Cancelo, I'm not risking that again. Next up, I'm going to be talking to you about my bench. No surprise, you know that Andreas Pereira is going to be on here again. But then apart from that, there's not too much interesting stuff on it. I've already said that Nico Williams is going to be there instead of Guehi. I think it's just a better decision. I think Crystal Palace have the better defense. Their XG data and everything says that. Nottingham Forest are conceding one of the most amount of goals in the league this season. Emerson as well. He's there until the World Cup. He's not moving from that position, and then after that he's gone because he's rubbish. Pope as well. I don't think that he'll keep a clean sheet against Chelsea. This game week might almost feel like an end of season game where there's mad scores. So I just think West Ham are less likely to score than Chelsea. So I guess you still have one question. What is this up here? The question mark. Who is this player? So I have made one transfer this week. It was a toss-up essentially between choosing a midfielder like Anthony Gordon or getting rid of Fabian Schär just for a 1 week punt. I thought about the ideas here. I don't trust Chelsea. I don't trust Newcastle to keep a clean sheet. So essentially I just decided to get rid of Fabian Schär instead of Anthony Gordon. There was a number of options here that I could have gone with, like ranging from Man United defenders to Chelsea defenders to Arsenal defenders, and I decided to go with one, and that was Alexander Zinchenko. Ideally, in a nice world where I had enough money to buy Gabriel, he would have come in. I don't think Ben White offers the same attacking threat as Zinchenko does, and I do believe that Zinchenko is going to start against Wolves. I think he's got a pretty big upside, and I think he could get a goal or an assist. I think considering the cup game there the other day as well, he's more likely to start than other options than that they have, like Tomiyasu, who's probably not going to be fit, and Kieran Tierney, who played in the cup. So yeah, this is my team here. What do you think of it? I think it's looking pretty good. Obviously, we get another wild card after this, so there's a few players who'll probably be getting the punt. I don't particularly like Zinchenko long term. I'm not sure about his position. Anthony Gordon's a quick sell. And then looking at other players, I like their front line, but I'm probably spending too much on it. And I guess the World Cup will spring some surprises. Some players will return from injury. There'll be transfers being made or mooted. As well as that, there could be injuries. So yeah, that's my team. If you leave a question down below, I'll try to get back to you. Tomorrow I'm flying to Berlin, so I'm not sure I'll be too active. I just wanted to get this video out so you could see my team, what my plans are, and just keep you updated on what I'm doing. So yeah, if you have liked the video, please do click like, subscribe, turn notifications on, and also make sure to check out this video. And yeah, ignore that weird color there. I don't have a green screen.